Hello and welcome to this week at GearReport. This is episode 188 for the 16th of November, 2023. And boy, have we got a good one for you. Oh, TJ, what's it mean when the hair stands up on my arm?
I mean, it could, with you, all kinds of things.
Isn't that the truth? It means I'm excited about something. Because we're going to talk about some cool stuff tonight. This guy down here, we're going to let him introduce himself in just a moment so you can understand exactly what's going on, what we're getting into here. And you know what? I'm gonna wreck things completely. I'm gonna switch you to the top. I'm gonna put TJ on the bottom. So when we put banners up, we're covering us up and not our guest, because that's just poor form when we do that. So now we're gonna work our way around for the introductions. Hi, I'm Jeff. I'll be your tour guide this evening, and this guy is TJ.
I'm TJ, former director of snacks and beverages. I'm slowly gonna have to work my way back up the ranks. Maybe
junior assistant regional manager of snacks and beverages.
I'm just gonna jump straight to Overlord
start
again.
rolling in.
Straight to Overlord again.
Yeah, we got to be careful for that. Hello to the gun snob out there. And in case you weren't aware, the only acceptable greeting here at This Week at GearReport, and I don't even know why, it's 3 Yo's with the separation. We typically like to see them with a capitalization, but the gun snob is from Oklahoma, so he spelled all of them right. I'm going to call that.
You're ahead there.
Yeah, yeah. And he recognizes we've got a good crowd this evening. So now,
you didn't mention Jeff.
Kevin, you got to unmute yourself, bro. You are so committed to quiet that you even keep yourself muted. It's amazing.
You should see the suppressors. This is Kevin. I'm here with GSL Technology Suppressors.
He's the quiet hustler. All right. And we'd like to welcome our friend. He said we can call him whatever we want. So I want to go with Big D. Everyone else calls him Dave or David. But tell us about yourself.
I'm David from Mean Arms, and we're here in Woodstock, Georgia. Happy to be on the show and excited to talk about whatever y'all want to talk about.
That's amazing. I'm excited as well. So let's start out with some gratuitous link dropping. All right. Because, I kind of take the approach of why do it if you're not going to be gratuitous about it. Right. So we'll start with the Mean Arms Facebook page, and we'll drop that in the comments.
Everybody,
you may also enjoy.
Listen to Jeff.
That's our backup account for Instagram. Our main Instagram has an underscore between Mean and Arms. It's actually linked in there.
Well, we talked before the show started, so I already warned you. You've been forewarned that I don't read good. So,
yeah. There you go.
So here we go. That's smart.
That one's a little bit more active.
Yeah. All right, you may find some interesting things on there. That, by the way, is where I stole the image for I mean, stole it too. Like I should have sent a note and asked, hey, can I use this? I didn't. I just stole it. So but I figured they'd be okay with it. I'd also like you to be aware of where you can find videos. We may come back and look at their YouTube page at some point. And if you want to follow along during the program, for those of you who are maybe catching this in an audio podcast form later, the meanarms.com website, I dropped that because we're going to use that to kind of guide the discussion as we go through here. So now that you have all of the requisite kind of homework material, I'm going to ask Dave to give us a bit of a background on, who's Mean Arms? Where'd you come from? Where are you going? What are you most known for? I'll stop there.
Sure.
That's plenty to talk about, right?
Yeah. So Mean Arms, we're in Woodstock, Georgia. We are first and foremost, we're a manufacturer. But we do have in-house design work. And the way we got started in the industry was about 12 years ago. It was a family that had already been injection molding polymers in Georgia for more than 40 years at that time. So now well over 50 years, and started saying, let's get into the firearm world. So we started out making OEM parts like AR stocks, grips, handguards, same things for AK and other firearm components. all injection molded at our facility in Georgia and done in house, all made in the USA. And we still ship that stuff out by the pallet load, and that helps pay the bills. And that's how we have the budget and the time and resources to work on our other projects like the Endomag, like the bearing delay, and the MA loader. So that's one of the first things that really kind of put us on the map in the firearm world for consumer products was the MA loader. It's for California folks, New York folks that some of them have to fix their magazine in their firearm for an AR style firearm. So we make the loader so they can load through their ejection port. And yeah, that's a picture of it on the screen there. That's the AR-15 version. We also make an AR-10 version.
Right.
And yeah, I mean that it's a fun product. Honestly though, it's something that we wish we didn't have to make. You know, if it were up to us, those laws wouldn't be there, and nobody would need to even worry about how they're going to load their fixed magazine firearm. But you know, while that's there, while those laws still exist, we try to help those folks out in those states that do have those restrictions. Yeah, there's an animation of it working there on the screen.
Yeah.
So it's always fun at trade shows like SHOT Show to have one of the have a dummy firearm out on the table and have the loader just sticking out of the ejection port, and people walk up and look at it and they stop and they they're trying to figure out what it is, or they're trying to think about whether or not it's some German World War II firearm, or what's going on, and we'll pick it up and we'll demo it. You put your thumb in the ring and you just shove it down and it loads up to 10 rounds into your mag. And it'll even drop the bolt when you release it in some cases, depending on how you use it. So yeah, the cool thing about it too is that no springs. So it's not a magazine, it's just a loader. You can leave it loaded with 10 rounds for indefinitely, because there's no spring that could ever fail or fatigue. So yeah, I mean that was one of our earlier products. And then we kind of transitioned and we started looking at the AR market, and we said, after the rush, so many people had lowers on the shelf or in the closet or wherever it was in the safe, and people were getting more and more into PCC stuff. We said, how do we help people use those extra lowers they have? A lot of people were buying AR-9 uppers, and we said, what if there was a way to shoot 9mm out of a mil spec AR lower where you didn't have to buy a clunky adapter for it? We said, all right, what can we do with the magazine? So that's when we came up with the Endomag. You take a PMag, a 30-round Gen 2 or Gen 3 PMag, put our insert into it, and you have a 9mm magazine.
Right. And
there are two flavors. We have an ejector version and an ejectorless. The ejector version works with most blowback 9mm uppers. There are always going to be exceptions, but most of them it will work with. The second style is ejectorless, and we made that. There are two primary applications for that. The first is, of course, our new bearing delay upper, which we can hopefully talk about later. And then the second one, it also works with CMMG's radial delay systems. So if you buy a CMMG radial delay and it comes with a mil-spec lower and what looks like a PMag, but it's made for 9mm, that's our product. We sell that to them and supply that to them.
All right.
So yeah, I mean, we that kind of led to the development of the bearing delay system. But in between there, we've also come up with other products like our hybrid trigger system. Yeah, that's the one on the screen there. So that's the way I described the company earlier. We it's a family that started it, not my family, but a family that started it. And the way they kind of look at things, first of all, is their passion is how to manufacture things, how to make things, how to make them better, how to make them more efficiently. But based on their background, they look at things and say, how do I make that out of polymer? Even in some cases, most people maybe wouldn't think about trigger and polymer in the same sentence. But what we did is we took a steel skeleton and we injection mold polymer around it in the non-critical areas. So for us, all the critical areas are steel. The sear, the disconnector, the actual interface with the hammer, of course, the strike face on the hammer. All these parts are metal, but for manufacturing efficiency, we can injection mold polymer around that skeleton, so we can make it more efficiently. We can make it um, more expediently. And we make it so that these inserts are removable. So if you look on the screen, you can see the flat blade version and the round one. Those just pop off, and you can replace them with swap them out to whichever one you want. No tools required. So yeah, I mean that's an exciting product that we're always happy about, is the hybrid fire control group.
That's got to save a ton of machine time.
Yeah.
To be able to inject most of that.
Yeah, I don't think we have a picture of the skeleton themselves before they're injection molded, but they're much simpler than a typical fire control group component because of we can just put it in the mold after that.
Hey, Dave, I got a question for you on that.
Sure.
Are those designed for AR9s, AR15s, everything?
Yeah, the trigger they'll work in any mil spec lower. Works with. I have one in an AR9 actually that's set up for Glock mag. So yeah, they'll work with. I'm sure there's an exception out there where somebody has a wacky lower where it doesn't work. But as far as I know, I have never seen it where it wouldn't work in someone's lower.
Cool.
The AR15, AR10, AR9. Anything that where you have the 2 pins for a standard AR trigger group.
We got 3 pins in a lot of ours.
Yeah.
3 pin is always better than 2 pin, but this setup is for 2 pin.
So the 3rd pin isn't going to melt any of the polymer in there, is it?
No, that actually anneals the polymer and makes it stronger.
Nice.
I'm just kidding, but nylon is a bearing material, so. Actually, that is a side benefit. Now that I was kind of joking when I said that, but when you're sliding across the polymer top corner of this hammer, that imparts less friction on your BCG as you move back and forth compared to most metal triggers. So, and it's lighter than our whole system is also lighter than a typical fire control group. So there are benefits to the polymer other than just the manufacturing.
Right. Cool. Hey, while we got a pause, I would like to welcome Trey from Ghost Tactical to the program. He snuck in when we weren't looking.
Sorry I'm late. I actually lost track of time. That doesn't happen with me very often.
Yeah, I noticed all the cookies are gone out of the green room. So
well, you shouldn't leave them out because they will be eaten.
Yeah, I know. Well, welcome. Good to see you. All right.
I hear you.
It's good to be heard. Yes. No one wants to see this ugly mug. I have a face for radio.
Defense dad's out there. Forgot the 3rd. Oh, there he is. He figured it out. Yep. We saw Chris from the 740. Gizzard Gary is here. It's amazing.
Yeah, he gives us the 3 O's with the trademark.
All right. Yeah, bastard.
Trey's got that face for radio, and he's got the height for reaching the bottom shelf.
I mean, hey, I get to rappel out of my truck every day, so life is good.
Yeah, that does sound fun. All right, so let's see. Oh, he's a 7th degree white belt now. Congrats.
Yeah, I took my test last night, and they haven't get me up to yellow, but they said it's soon. They just keep sending checks to them every month. They say you might get through to yellow eventually.
Yeah. All right.
You know how that goes.
I've heard something about that stuff, way back when. What in the world? The gun snob is tossing lies out here. Yeah. Okay. We're not even going to dignify that by reading it. So we heard where the company came from. We saw an intro to some of the different products here. Let's see. I'm trying to think back to our pre-discussion agenda. See, the problem is Dave's more efficient than we are, so he's a little bit ahead of us.
He's already thrown through half the stuff.
Oh yeah. But
I can draw it out. I'm used to having to fit it in a tight timeline.
No, it's okay. So we want to end on the hour. So that's only 15 minutes. We've covered, 4/5 of the material. That means we get to talk about the fun part now. Oh, you know what? I just thought of something. Since we were so efficient there, I thought we were going to have to miss a segment tonight.
Put the guitar down, Jeffrey.
It's not Ask Bard this time. And while Boo ATF, I forgot to put on the screen earlier. We will put that back up later. Well, we can do 2 additional segments. I'm going to slip them in here real quick, okay? Because that's how I do things.
There's a joke there.
He slips it in real quick.
Yeah,
Not a family show.
We haven't had an episode of Where in the World is Kevin in quite a while. So where are you hiding now, Kevin?
It's been a couple minutes.
Yeah.
I am in Georgia right now. I'm in Fort Stewart, Georgia, playing a soldier. Being an Army soldier. It's good. Good. Last weekend I was in Myrtle Beach and I recorded with the Gun Owners of America podcast, the State of the Second.
That's cool.
That should probably go live in December.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a good time. We had a lot of fun, and we talked about like the current suppressor regulations and boo the ATF and repeal the NFA.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to put this one back up there. You know what? I should add a repeal the NFA. I'm going to do that at some point. We're going to have another one that sits on the screen. And I do apologize for neglecting to put it up there earlier. And now everyone's favorite segment. We're going to keep it short tonight, but I've got exciting stuff to talk about.
Let's see it.
It's Guitar-mageddon. All right. So, and I already put it away. So
that's a shame.
So I know. Y'all look so forward to this. This, you may recognize it because if you like Metallica, Kirk Hammett has the original of this. They call it the Greenie. So Peter Green from Fleetwood Mac and Gary Moore owned this guitar, and now Kirk Hammett owns it. And Gibson makes a bunch of copies of it. Like the high level one's $50,000, and then they got like a $16,000 and a 13, and one that's only $3,500. But this one is it says Gibson. It's a Chipson. This is from China. I'm in this for $316. It arrived today, and it is glorious. So if you want to head over to the Gear Report Guitars channel, I did a live unboxing, and you can go learn all about this there. And
so that's essentially a Chinese knockoff of a clone of a original guitar, right?
I don't know. I don't know if I would go quite that far on it. I think it was an original, but I think what you're referring to is it looks very similar to the guitar that Slash from Guns N' Roses used on all the early albums. That was actually a knockoff. It was not a real Gibson. So. And that pretty much saved the Gibson company. That knockoff guitar pretty much made them relevant again and saved them. Okay, let me catch up here. Oh, come on, people.
There's no love. Well, there's a little bit of love for Armageddon.
But everyone knows they look forward to that segment because they get to harass me, and it's okay. All 3 of your panelists with their cameras on look like they're annoyed. I do apologize for that. Thank you for not hiding your emotions. It adds to the program. I really do appreciate that. All right, I'm catching up here. All right, that's enough hate mail for now. We can get back to our regularly scheduled program. So we're gonna take Guitar-mageddon off and move back to UATF. Oh, but I do want to mention a couple things that you can look forward to coming up, because I always forget to talk about what's coming up. I'm waiting to hear back from Ethan Middleton. We're going to have him on. It was going to be next week, but that's right in the Thanksgiving travel party stuff Thursday night. So I'm waiting to hear from him if we're going to pre-record that and just air it on Thursday night at the regularly scheduled time, or if we're just going to cancel the show and do some other time. I'm not sure yet. We scheduled it and then realized later, like, oh no, that's like not a great time to do a live show. So we're going to figure that out. But speaking of 3D printing, I got together with Chris, one of our gun writers that has a bunch of 3D printers, and I took the kit to him that had the 3 kits from ghostguns.com to make to 3D print 3 pistols, and we basically sketched out how we're going to do that and create videos on it and what things we need to order and what machines we're going to use, and pretty much decided that's going to be like a December, January project that you'll find on the Gear Report Firearms channel. Before that, on the Guitar Gear Report channel, we're going to 3D print a guitar as well.
I was wondering. I knew that was coming. I was like, "You're going to
we're just going to be 3D printing everything. We're gonna start out. We want to do the guitar first. We haven't.
Are you going to go ukulele first to get like your feet wet, or go full size?
That's one of the best ideas I've heard in a while. I'd never considered that. Time. Yes, I think we will. Yeah, I was not prepared for that, but that's a brilliant idea. I think we'll do that. So,
speaking of 3D printing, we actually have one of our uppers out with print, shoot, repeat right now. So he's evaluating one of our bearing delay uppers now. So hopefully getting some content out soon for our stuff with him.
Cool. Yeah, we'll look forward to that, and hopefully we can help you with help you get the word out on that as well. So let's see. We've got that coming. We're going to start with the guitars because they're less critical. Work out all the kinks on our 3D printing, and then we'll move on to 3D printing guns because they're just going to be 22s, but we still don't want to. We want to get the learning curve over before things are explosive.
Yeah, go big or go home, buddy.
Yeah, I make a pretty good hand model. I've been doing a lot of videos lately that are overhead on a board, and I need my hands, right?
Going G-Web style.
That's right.
Yeah,
that was the old Gaston Glock, right? He always shot left-handed for prototypes. I believe that's the story.
That. Yeah,
I've never heard that before, but I love it.
I'm pretty sure that was in the book. I read a book about the Glock story. I'm pretty sure they said he shot left-handed always because he wasn't sure what was going to happen since he was a curtain rod manufacturer at the time in the early days.
Wow. I've seen something like that in testing, in durability testing for suppressors. There's a company, Otter Creek Labs, that was doing durability testing right after the Sierra 5 mentioned that it was full auto rated and had no barrel length restrictions. So he put it on a 4.5-inch 223 machine gun and fired like a D60, 60 rounds of 5.56 through it, and it exploded in a brilliant ball of fireworks. And then the second one he had a welding helmet on, and he had a board that he had built up so that if the suppressor exploded, he had a little bit of standoff between him and the explosion.
Wow. Let's see. Trying to catch up on comments here real quick.
You can catch up.
I almost forgot the very best part. The GSL TAC 5 took the very top slot in durability.
Ooh.
I was waiting for you to turn it into a commercial, Kevin.
Beating out the YHM and the Surefire and the Otter Creek. It was amazing.
All right. So that concludes our intermission. So now we'll get back to let's get back to the discussion. You mentioned again the bearing delay upper. So let's talk about it's a neat idea, and I threw a video up that we shot at the Iraq Veteran 8888 Range Day a month and a half ago, where there was no talking, no explanation, on purpose, just to see what people would say. And we got a fair number of comments trying to figure out like what is going on here. It's that interesting. It's that unique. It's the concept. It's a little foreign, I think. So do you want to start with like who the hell came up with this? And how long did it take to evolve that into a functional, sellable product?
Yeah, it's people a lot smarter than me. That's the first answer to the answer to the first question you had. So what happened was we were making the Endomag, which I already described, convert your PMag to 9mm, and we had a federal agency approach us. They had found the Endomag and they called us, and I think the guy that answered the phone thought it was a prank call, so I think we hung up on him the first time they called us. But they called back, and they said they were interested in the Endomag, and we ended up going to visit them, demoing the Endomag and talking about 9mm options, because they were looking at training, and their issue was they had a lot of indoor ranges that preferred people not use rifle caliber ammo, but they wanted their trainees to shoot with their service rifles, their ARs. And they said, maybe this is a good option for us. Maybe we can just have them shoot 9mm at these indoor ranges. And so that led to them saying, well, what do you guys recommend for a 9mm upper to go with the Endomag? And by that point, it had been out for a while. We'd been fielding a lot of service calls related to the Endomags because we actually answer the phone when people call us for service questions. We became kind of a de facto expert, or we built up some knowledge and expertise about 9mm AR systems. And for us, at least, the blowback world just didn't seem like a good option that we would want to recommend, especially to people that are using them for their daily work, and in some cases to protect themselves or protect other people. So we said, you know what? I don't think we can recommend any kind of specific AR upper at this point. Give us a few weeks to sketch out some ideas and come up with something, and we'll get back to you. And so that's what we did. And we went home and we kind of picked up a couple of bar napkins and started drawing stuff out. And again, not me, but somebody a lot smarter than me came up with a way to insert a roller delay system into an AR platform without modifying the upper or the lower. So you can use basically a mil-spec upper or lower. And we showed that, I believe it was SHOT Show 2020. We had a functioning prototype of a roller delay with cylindrical rollers. And it actually worked really well. If you go back and look at old footage from people's YouTube channels or even our own social media, you'll find that old roller delay system that we were showing back then. And we were going down that line down that path pretty far, and we got to a point where we were looking at manufacturing it, and we said, you know what, I think there's some roadblocks here. And so we did a crazy Ivan, and we turned around and we kind of reevaluated how are we going to create this delay system. And we said, you know what, the Germans did these rollers back in the 60s or 70s, whatever it was. Maybe we don't need to stick with that. Maybe there's a better option. And so we tried to think outside the box, and we turned to instead of cylinders, we turned to spheres. And so instead of rollers, we used ball bearings. And I know it's hard to see on the screen here, but we can pull up some YouTube or something else off our website maybe. But anyway, we turned into 3 ball bearings to delay the action. Kind of like the analogy that we make sometimes is if you look at a quick release pneumatic fitting in the garage for your air tools, where the balls pop out and then you slide them in the color, you have to push them in, and then they release and push out, and it's locked into place. So that's kind of the basic concept for how it works, but apply it to the way you think a German roller delay would work, but replace it with 3 ball bearings, like it's on the screen there. Sure. And the cool thing about it, well, there are lots of cool things about it, but one of the cool things about it is that each of those ball bearing, the contact surface area is roughly the same as a MP5 cylinder. So we have 3 instead of 2. So we have 50% more contact area. So we have more surface area to absorb that energy. We can tune it based on swapping an internal part in our system. So you can, not only do you get the delay from those bearings riding over the surface on the inside of your bolt when it fires, but you also get, that's the lifter part on the screen there. So that's the part that you swap out. those 3 grooves on the end of it, you swap one to a different angle, and you can change one. You get 2 when you buy an upper from us. You get a standard kind of general purpose angle that'll work with basically almost any off the shelf ammo. Then we give you a second one where you can tune it for the one that we usually include is for lighter ammo. So if somebody's running subsonics or maybe even like a frangible, you'll be able to get that to run with your setup. And but the cool thing is you can tune it based on whether you're putting a suppressor on the end of the upper, or you want to run really hot ammo. You might go the opposite direction and you might dial it down. You can actually reduce the recoil if you go the other direction. So there's a lot of potential there. We think there's a great potential too for the competition world, because those guys are always looking for minimizing recoil so they can get back on their target faster for the next shot. So I think there's potential there. Yeah, that's our slow motion ejection pattern.
Yeah.
If you look at the reason our ejection is so consistent like that is because we actually have an ejector that's right in the middle of the bolt face, which is another unique feature of the bearing delay. So I think, yeah, if you just scroll up a little bit above that, you'll see there's the ejector right in the middle. So actually, when you're firing, the firing pin is passing through our ejector.
Yeah.
So that hole in the center of the ejector, it also caused a little bit of havoc at SHOT Show one day, because they were going around testing to make sure you don't. And of course, we didn't have functional firing pins at SHOT Show in any of our firearms, just like everybody's supposed to. But I think at the time they were just shoving a stick down the barrel and checking it. And because of this ejector system, they really, unless you really know what you're doing and figure that out, you wouldn't know that your little testing stick with the to check for the firing pin doesn't work with the system because of that, because of the ejector we use.
Right. So let's play back the video that we did, and where you take it apart and put it back together. We did this with no audio. Maybe you can talk through what's happening.
Sure. So yeah, another one of my favorite things about this is that it's so easy to take apart. You don't need tools. There's no cotter pins or anything. You just twist the bolt either direction and it slides right off the front. And there's your lifter. That's those 3 grooves. That's what the ball bearing's ride on from the inside. You just pull it straight out, and it can fit in any of those 3 orientations. There's no you don't have to get it in a certain spot for it to go in. So it just slides into the carrier like that. Your bolt extension and bolt slide on. You just twist it so the lugs engage, and then it's back together.
Yeah. It's intimidating. I mean, I'll be completely honest. When I saw it and you did that, and then when the camera was turned off, you handed it to me. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to screw this up. And it was easy. I just had to be talked through because there were more than 2 steps. 2 steps, I'm solid, man. Show me something with 2 steps. I'm going to get it right at least 50% of the time. But I think it had 3.5 steps. So you
got it pretty quick though. I remember.
Yeah, one try. I mean, it wasn't that bad. It was easy. The point I was making is that it's easy once you understand it, and it just takes a second to look at it and go, well, okay, I see how this fits together. There's that ejector. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, cool. How many parts are there in a standard bolt carrier? You know?
The number of parts?
All of them.
Meaning there's more than 2 steps, right? You got to.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest difference is for an AR, you got to pull that cotter pin and then twist the head, of course, to pull out the pin. So yeah, I mean, to me at least, I mean, I'm probably a little biased, but I've also done this quite a few times. But this one seems pretty easy to assemble and disassemble.
Looks like that's pretty solid.
So, do you find that when it's been fired a lot, do you get crud or carbon or any stuff building up, like from a cleaning maintenance standpoint? How does this change your bolt maintenance?
Yeah, I mean, so what the coating we use is hard chrome, and it does a good job of keeping stuff from sticking to it too much. But yeah, I mean, it like any delayed system, it is going to build up carbon eventually. It's going to get dirty. But Honestly, ours we've run them, quite a few rounds, and not even cleaning it, just adding some lube every few hundred rounds. It seems to be happy.
Sure.
That day you were out there at IV-88, I think, especially at one point we had I think it was an 11-inch that was unsuppressed, and then we had a shorter suppressed one. They were both running full auto, most of Saturday, and I'm sure I know we lubed them some, but I don't think we actually took them out and cleaned them. And they ran like champs, both of them.
I don't think that people generally get the kind of abuse that firearms go through on that kind of firing line, especially an event like that where there's a lot of people and a lot of shooting. Like the guns don't cool off. CCMG is famous at that event for the big cooler that they sit to dunk the guns in.
Oh yeah.
So that they can keep, they don't have time to let them cool off. They got to shock cool them over and over and over. But that's one of those things where I think it's reasonable that brands may expect a little bit of grace from the people who are filming when things don't go right, because it is such a torturous environment out there in the dust and dirt, and so many people shooting over and over and over. But
yeah, and I don't want to badmouth YouTube influencers, but there are some of them that aren't necessarily the greatest shots, or don't always know exactly what they're doing. So yeah, you get a wide variety of shooters, ability and skill levels, and people too that in some cases are shooting full auto for the first time. So that can be a little frightening at times, but also it's a good test for equipment. And that actually is something we found out about this upper. I don't think even we appreciated how good our handguard was going to be on these uppers, because these uppers are all running our polymer handguard, and it's not a typical nylon polymer. It's a little bit more of an exotic material, and the cool thing about them is they don't absorb heat. Yeah, there's a good picture of the full array of the handguards. They don't absorb heat like aluminum does. So the polymer is an insulator. It's not a conductor. So the heat is passing through the holes or down down the length of the barrel, but you're not absorbing it like you would with an aluminum one. So it actually, when I think of CMMG at that event, I think of the cooler, number one, like you said, but I also think the second thing is whoever's shooting their mutant or whatever it is wearing an oven mitt on their left hand because it's so hot. And we were doing mag dumps with these uppers, all day long. And I don't think anybody even needed a glove, much less an oven mitt the whole day. So these the only exception to that is we had one upper that had a suppressor inside the handguard, and that one did get a little warm. It was still okay to touch. You just had to be a little bit careful about holding it down closer towards the muzzle, because it was getting a bit hot because of the suppressor being so close to the handguard. But yeah, I mean, especially the unsuppressed ones, even in the sun, the hot sun all day, and running a lot of full auto mag dumps, they were great. And kind of like I talked about with the trigger earlier, the reason we make, or one of the main reasons that we make a polymer handguard, is because we know how to manufacture it and we have the expertise to get it right. But because of the material we chose, because it's so strong and heat resistant, it's great for handguards because of the heat issue, but also it's lighter weight, and it's easy to manufacture. It's easy for us to install them. We do sell that as a separate part now also, but it debuted on these uppers.
Nice. Yeah, interesting. So let's get a time check. Where are we? So we have 20 minutes. We've covered just about everything that was on the agenda. So is there anything else you want to talk about with the bearing delay?
Sure. Yeah. So if you're on that same page, you scrolled past our charging handle. That's a proprietary design that comes with our system. That's fully ambidextrous. My favorite part about the charging handle, this is our own custom design. We have a patent or two on this already. the latch is not connected to either handle. So there are a lot of ambi charging handles where you go to push it into battery, and if you push, especially on the side where the latch is, it actually won't slip over and engage the upper because our latch is not connected to the handle. No problems with that. It'll latch every time. But I should emphasize that the bearing delay upper doesn't require this charging handle. It works with anybody's mil-spec charging handle. So if you don't like our charging handle for some reason, which nobody should, but if they decided they didn't, they could swap it out and put any AR-15 charging handle in here and it would work with that. Same thing with the hand guards. If you take that off, you can put any AR handguard on it. Even the upper itself, we have a nice billet slick side upper, but if you had some sort of off-the-shelf AR-15 upper you wanted to use with this, you could take it apart and put all our parts in it, and it would work fine. There's nothing special about this upper. We do have rails that pass through the upper. They're attached to our barrel extension, but they fit in a normal AR-15 upper. The other thing that I should mention too about the bearing delay is the training aspect. I kind of hinted at that earlier, but what's unusual about this from the 9mm perspective is that this bearing delay system, if you're just Joe Smith and you're shooting an AR-15 upper with a standard carbine buffer and a standard spring, you're shooting 5.56, and you say, you know what, I want to switch to 9mm. You take your two pins off, you take your 5.56 upper off your lower, you pick up the bearing delay upper, you put it on your lower, pick up an endomag, and you're ready to shoot. This works with a carbine buffer or whatever. Yeah, if you're running an H2, it'll probably work with that too. But basically standard AR-15 parts in the buffer, so you don't have to worry about swapping that out. And that's unheard of in the 9mm AR world because they all need the heavy buffers. The typical ones are, I know they're longer and heavier compared to an AR buffer. And so for us, we don't need that. We can use a standard normal buffer. I was going to say also that so I talked about the charging handle. I talked about the handguard, the muzzle device. That was the other thing I didn't talk about. I think that was on the page too. That is our own custom design. Don't have to have any kind of lock or crush washer there.
Right.
The jam nut is reverse threaded. So you just you thread it on and then you reverse the jam nut to lock it in place, and it could be taken off and reattached as many times as you want, but you don't have to worry about whether or not you lost your whether you can try to reuse your crush washer, or if you have another one in the drawer. You don't need any of that stuff with this.
Nice. Yeah, that does make it a whole lot easier. Let's see. Gunsnob made a comment that the bearing delay upper did shoot really smooth, and I'll second that. I think it felt very. How do I want to say this? I want to say kind of MP5-ish in that that's one of the only full autos I've shot, because I'm not a great shooter. I've shot a lot of full auto, but I have, like, dude, I was in the Air Force. I wasn't taught how to be like an operator or something.
Did they let you shoot anything?
That very little.
They gave
I qualified expert with a handgun, never shot a real handgun. Like, they literally hooked us up to a pressed air system that did the sun. Oh, shut up, Ghost. You knew this. But and it had a laser in it. Like, it had a pneumatic cycling system that would give you a feel of that was recoilish, and it had a laser, and I was shooting a target like 5 yards away, but a qualified expert, baby. And that made me feel
working
good.
at Mantis, or was this the Air Force?
This was the Air Force. And this was a while ago, because I'm a bit older than I look, we'll say. So, but yeah, it was a while ago. And
welcome.
And I'll tell you what, it made me feel really confident that one time when I was in Bogota and the plane was broke down, and they're like, "Here, guard the plane," and I'm like, "I have a 9mm pistol in my flight suit. That's it. Like one 10-round magazine." What the hell you expect me to do? There's guys riding by literally on a tractor pulling these agricultural trailers, and each one had a guy with a machine gun sitting on top of it, and then two beside the driver, one on each side. I'm like, they literally had like 20 machine guns. I had an M9 with one
So
magazine.
did you feel
were
guilty
expert.
by wearing your expert badge or no?
I'd say that again.
Did you feel guilty when you wore your expert shooting badge?
Oh, not at all.
Of course not.
No. Dude, man.
That
got
sounds like the
mad
beginning of a Steven Seagal movie.
Yeah. That got me mad respect at the golf course, bro.
You have full support of the United States Air Force behind you.
With
yeah.
that, you got the lobster tail with your steak at dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome to
Yeah.
basic training. Here's your room key.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a crayon joke in here somewhere for our extra guest.
It's all good, you know.
So you don't know this because I haven't told this story in a while, but a year and a half, 2 years ago, I sent our guest here. Let me get the repeal of the NFA out of the way so we can see Ghost's face here. Yep, there it is. That's exactly the
There's
face
his
I was
face.
looking for. When I tell this story about
Oh, my
I
eyes.
sent, how many was it?
Ugh.
Well, like I sent thousands of crayons to Ghost. It was a snack pack. I called it the snack pack. And I
It
sent
was
remember that.
at least 1,000, probably more like 2,500. Let's be honest.
it was a lot of crayons.
Hmm.
And then another story. I actually had someone tell
And
me
I
once
actually donated them to the local library for their after-school program. I thought so. Someone actually got some good out of it.
that's good. You were the ones that were left after.
Well, I
snacks.
ate about half of them, but
Did you
Yeah.
make a milkshake out of them first?
no. That's sacrilege. You just got to eat it, man. Milkshake.
So
you're
since we're
taking
talking
the
about Marines
flavor
and
out of
crayons,
it.
one of our other channels is the GearReport. Here, I'm going to change the logo up here. GearReport Humvee for military Humvees, right? So, and you saw at that event we had Ruben was there with his Humvee, and he comes with GearReport. I don't bring mine because he's there, but I have a former Marine Corps Humvee, and when I go to shows, I have threatened to get like a McDonald's Happy Meal and set it on the center console when it's on display, but instead of McDonald's wrappers, have like torn up crayon wrappers and a little bit of shavings, like someone had just eaten through a whole pack of crayons. And I actually had someone tell me, like, dude, are you trying to get your ass kicked? You're going to really piss people off. I'm like,
No.
really? You think people don't have a sense of humor? But
They're going to be pissed there's not a crown left.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying. They'd only be
They're
pissed if you
gone.
didn't leave one
Digging
for
through
them.
there like, what?
You
They
never
ate every
eat.
single
You never
one?
eat the last one. You leave the last one.
Mm.
yeah. So anyhow, nice fun story there. But that's good. I like that muzzle device can be installed with its own jam nut. I've had another something similar that I used on a bill a few years ago, and it was so much easier than having to deal with where'd the damn crush washer go, and do I need to shim it? Can I get it timed where I want it? Whole lot easier that way. Yep. Okay, so how are we doing on time? We got about 10 minutes. We're doing good here. So
Yeah.
let's talk about the shameless promotion portion of the program. So let's assume that based on everything we've talked about, and we didn't cover all the products, but
Many
you've
products.
got the products page it'll make your wallet I don't want to say cry, because it's like your stuff isn't really that expensive.
No.
The upper, for what it is, it's not inexpensive, but that's not for that. I think that's a deal. But looking through this, most of this stuff is like inexpensive compared to what you might expect it to be. So if someone is looking at this going, oh my goodness, I need one of those and two of those, and give me one in FDE and one in green and one in black, and do you have desert tan? Where should we send them?
The best is our website, meanarms.com. if you're trying to follow us, we're probably more active on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter/X than most of the others. YouTube, we need to hire more video editors to actually produce content for YouTube. We're not great about getting stuff up there. So YouTube is useful for informative stuff and talking about the Endomag especially. We do have some animations of the BCG, how to disassemble it, that are on YouTube now. But yeah, I mean, there's not a ton of stuff on there.
Yeah. So, but so obviously people can buy through your website.
We're also on Brownells and Optics Planet for most of our products.
Nice.
I don't know if they have the uppers yet, but they have almost everything else.
Are they actually in stock at Optics Planet?
I don't think that matters whether it's in stock or not. You still won't get it.
No, they're going to take your money.
You can go buy.
I shouldn't say that stuff. I'm actually an Optics Planet affiliate and have been for years, and I love them. They're great people.
Same here, and honestly, I have never had. I've
joke.
only ordered a handful of things over the years. They've all shown up. Like, I've never had the issues other people have, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm all about jokes at other people's expense. We all know that. So.
I've only ordered one thing on Optics Planet. It was a bipod. They said it was in stock. I waited for 5 months and then I canceled the order and ordered it.
Oh my goodness!
I'm impressed you waited for 5 months.
Yeah.
He ordered and started driving around the country slinging suppressors and forgot about it.
Yeah.
Proud of it. Yeah.
All the gun stores you rolled in, nobody had a bipod sitting there.
Nope.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is you're probably going to be better to just go to the Mean Arms website and order there. That's how I'm going to interpret that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
Good. Let's see. So in the closing moments, I'm going to come back to Dave. Get ready for your parting monologue. We're gonna put you on the spot. It's not going to happen just yet. We're going to put you on the spot, and you can tell us whatever other things that tomorrow you're going to be sitting there going, oh, how did I forget that? Get ready, because you're going to have an opportunity to cover whatever that was here shortly. For expectation management moving forward with this program, I don't know what's going to happen next week. We talked about that at the beginning, but in case people weren't here, I'm waiting on Ethan Middleton. We got to work out if we're going to record it ahead of time and play it back at the normal time, or if we're just going to skip it. TJ and I are both kind of tied up at the show time next week, so we may not have it. We may have it. Watch the Facebook page, or
I'll be in no shape for a show.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be one sloppy show.
That's an all-dayer right there, man.
Right. I'm going to be with my extended family that day, and I can't do a whole day with them sober. So, yeah, it'll be ugly by the time we get to showtime. So,
might be the greatest show ever. Just saying.
Yeah, yeah.
I may hop on live.
So that's the next week. So keep an eye on our socials or on YouTube on the Gear Report Firearms or the OG Gear Report channel, and you'll see when we get that scheduled and put up there. And then in the coming weeks, I've got a long list of brands that we're going to have on before SHOT Show. As we ramp up to SHOT Show, we're going to have more and more brands. We may not do any of our normal, go over the published reviews, upcoming reviews, and that kind of stuff. TJ's happy hour, I'm sorry, is probably going to take more of a back seat for the next few.
That's fine. I'll be all right.
Next couple months until we get
every day, every hour is my happy hour.
Right. If you're here, it's our happy hour too. So
let's see.
Did you take notes, Dave? Are you ready?
I got it.
All right.
Figure it out.
So, let's see. Anyone else have anything you want to talk about real quick? Kevin, you have any exciting stuff happening?
I don't think so. Nothing for the good of the group.
Okay, good. Ghost, you have any cool stuff coming up?
Not really. We do have the tryouts for our Airband air supply, getting ready for our gig at SHOT Show. So we are looking for an air drummer. We had it. Well, our one-armed drummer got his other arm chopped off, So it would be kind of a weird having a no arm drummer. So we're looking for at least a 1-arm drummer for playing the air supply. So if you're out there, hit me up.
Sounds pretty good. TJ, you have anything fun coming?
I mean,
no, really?
No, I got all kinds of stuff coming up.
Yeah.
I got the Break Arms stuff, the Go Safe stuff coming up.
Yeah.
My 8.6 Blackout build is finally there. And then the Duty Coat, Monster Tough from Duty Coat.
Good.
You've been working on that 8.6 Blackout for like 3 years, right?
Oh, it's done. I've already fired it. I'm just writing up the
He said it's finally he said it's finally done, but I won't believe it until I see it on video. I don't think it's done.
All right, I'm going to take it to the range this weekend, and I'll get some stuff.
We've got videos up of TJ shooting that.
Yeah, you do.
He's a perfectionist when it comes to the write up.
Yeah,
and,
I'm weird like that.
Yeah,
I'll write stuff in the evenings, and I'll wake up in the morning, look at it, and be like, "What was I thinking?" Come on.
I check in on the draft every now and then, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, he's still going. Look at that!" But it's going to be a hell of an article when he gets it done. It was a neat build, and in TJ's defense, it was tough because that 8.6 didn't take off like we all thought it was going to, and acquiring some of the parts that were supposed to be kind of trivial turned out a little more difficult than we had been led to believe when that project started. So
it's making a comeback.
Yeah.
Did you get confused and think 6.8 instead of 8.6?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's something that I would. That's something that I would. It
had a good day. It had a good day at shot, and then then COVID hit, and it just vanished.
Yeah, it's a shame because it's a really cool round. I like
numbers are hard.
So quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Dave, we're gonna turn it over to you for the last couple minutes. If there's anything else you'd like to share about the brand and products.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can just go over a couple points I missed on the bearing delay system. I never talked about the available barrel lengths we have. So this is the shortest one, 4.5. We go from there to 7.5, and then we have an 11-inch, a 14.5, and a 16. So those 5 barrel lengths. There is a 6th option, though, if you want to have a 14.5 pin and welded at our facility. We do offer that as well. So 6 total options for sizes. And the again, we think it's a game changer for the competition world and PCC world because of how soft it shoots, because of the delay. It's great for suppressing because of the delay and because you can tune it to adjust for your ammo, for your barrel length, or effective barrel length when you're adding a suppressor. I'll also tease that we're working on our own new magazine. So right now, every upper comes with 2 endo mags. But if you follow Mean Arms on our social, on our website, you will in the near future see some more info about a new prototype magazine that we're coming out with. We're optimistic that we're going to have some early production ones at SHOT Show this year coming up in a couple months.
Nice.
So yeah, that's something we're super excited about as well to go with this.
Nice.
So real quick, is your booth at SHOT going to be the same place it always is? Because it's a great location. Just want to make sure it's the same spot.
Yeah, we love the basement. All the cool kids stay in the basement.
The
so
dungeon's where it's at.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we are going to be in the same spot. We've been there. I think this will be our either 3rd or 4th straight year in the same spot down there. When you go down at least to me, the main entrance to the basement, right there next to the escalators. If you just stay to the left, where basically on the corner of one of the main aisles as you go down that far left.
It's about 10
pathway.
aisles down or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That puts you a couple past WMD, probably. It sounds like.
I think so.
Nice.
Yep. Cool. All right,
Dave, I got a question for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
What brand makes the quietest suppressor you've ever shot on your?
Is Clover on here? Oh, I'm sorry, it's Kevin. My bad.
I don't want to play favorites, Kevin.
Oh my goodness!
I said objectively the quietest suppressor that you've ever shot.
Sounds like you don't want him to answer this. Just saying.
I'm just kidding. We love GSL. We shot a GSL at IV88 recently, and we had a great time. It was it the Fat Man? I think is that the model it was, Kevin?
Fat Man's pretty solid.
I think it was the Fat Man. Yeah. So we actually had 2 suppressors that day, but the GSL was easier to spot because that was outside the handguard. The other suppressor we were running, which from a company I won't name, was inside the handguard. So it was a little bit more compact, but harder to notice. It looked like just a giant bullet barrel.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, cool,
and not to undercut Kevin here, but we are friends with lots of suppressor companies. Kevin is he is our favorite suppressor salesman in the world, not just in this country. And I mean, if we're being honest, he's favorite overall. I mean, I don't know what other worlds have suppressor salesmen, but they wouldn't hold a candle to you, Kevin. But we are probably at some point going to have Mike Pappas on the program. So I just want to warn you, you better be nice to Mikey, because we go way back.
Team in the house.
Oh, we're close.
Yeah. I know Kevin gets along with everyone. So, but I do like to tease me about that sometimes. So I got to brief you, Dave. I should have said this earlier. We have a little ritual we do, and I got in trouble one time with our sponsor, no less, Maxim Defense. Some of the greatest military grade firearms out there, has been a sponsors program for a couple of years. We had one of their guys on, and we got to the end of the show, and I said, here's what we do. Well, I'm going to say, we'll see you until next time. And then we'll all point and put your finger right up by the camera and say, we'll see you at the range. And he went, I'm not doing that. And I was like, oh my goodness, I just offended our sponsor. So it's up to you. There's no pressure whatsoever. But what's what I'm going to do is, here we go. All right. Until next time.
So far away.
Yeah. I don't have a long enough arm.
I like the creativity you displayed there. That was good.